What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 79 of Lyon Live here in Football Manager 2019. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. Today we're back. Yes, it's been a little while since the last episode. I originally planned to get it uploaded yesterday. It is Sunday morning as I record this, but real life stuff got in the way. So today I've got a bit more time, so expect a longer episode. We've got a fair few matches on the horizon. We've got, as you can see here, Lille, Monaco, Metz, Guingamp, Lyon. I'd like to get at least those 5 games done. Maybe we'll throw the Liverpool game in for good measure. But yes, we're going to have a slightly longer episode today. It's longer than I wanted since the previous one. And, well, I can only really apologise for that. I'm sure you guys know how it is. Real life, busy stuff in the way. With a video like this, I kind of have to set aside an hour and a quarter of my day to make sure it's rendered, edited, uploaded, and of course recorded. And some days that just doesn't happen for whatever reason. But yeah, we're back, and we've got Lille to start today. We're in third, of course. And a win against Lille puts us in a very good position. It's only coming 3 days after our previous match against Liverpool. So I am already weighing up the idea that maybe we rotate the team. But at the same time, there's part of me that just thinks, screw it. I've got to play a full-strength team for this game. We've got to go all out. I would like to maybe try and push PSG for second. You can see they're still in the Champions League. Right now we're 2 points... we're how many points behind them? 11 points behind them, but we do have 2 games in hand. Man, the end of the season is kind of coming quicker than I realised here. We've had a fair few matches kind of rescheduled and pushed back and back and back. And, well, the end of our season is... Well, it's not that far off being here, really, is it? Anyway, Bordeaux losing to Monaco is not the result we needed to start today's episode, but hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. Hopefully we can, of course, at least ourselves grind a result out against Monaco. And, well, let's see how we get on here. Of course, Konate going to be returning to his former club. Will Konate play today? Probably not, if we're being honest, but he will more than likely be on the bench because Markovic is suspended. We're in a weird spot at the moment, I feel like, because the end of the season is coming thick and fast. And, of course, I want to play spoiler. I want to try and get second in the league and, knock PSG down the pecking order. But really, the Champions League, we're 2 goals down against Liverpool. We're going to need a little bit of a miracle in that one. And the French Cup really is kind of the sole competition we're left in that you could say, yes, we should be winning that or at least going further in that than where we are right now. We're currently in the 11th round. But there are still plenty of big teams in this competition. Monaco and PSG, of course. The 2 teams that we really care about that happen to still be in it. The 2 teams that haunt me in my dreams. I close my eyes at night and I just see the Monaco and PSG side staring at me. It's a terrifying dream. I should go to the doctors about it, really. But, well, let's hope that we can take Lille to the doctors and beat them good and proper. That's not a good image in my head. But no, we just need to beat them, really. I have a way with words, don't I? So in terms of team for today's game, this is not your usual midweek game because it's taking place on a Friday. So with that in mind, I think we will just go with our regular team. I would love to have Gabel's back. He probably can start this game to build up a little bit of match fitness. I could even bring Moise Keane to play inside forward on the left-hand side. That's actually not a bad option at all. Addons has been in some good form lately, so I'm kind of tempted to bring him in, but it's a case of who would I bring him in for? Toussaint's not played that great. We'll bring in Tolisso, I think, to play left wing-back. And Addons, I'm going to give you a chance. Advanced playmaker, mate. Show us what you can do. Fitness is fine across the team. Eder Militao still unhappy about the fact we didn't let him go in January. Man, I can't believe we're near the end of February now. We're going to be having regen intake day probably this episode. So, hey, that's something to look forward to already, isn't it? But anyway, let's just praise all the players. I've got faith in you all, boys. Come on, get us a result here. We need to be winning this kind of game. We're going to go with the 3 centre mid, 2 kind of inside forward formation. I feel like this has almost become our de facto go-to formation. It just works quite nicely. Really plays into our strengths in the centre of the midfield without stifling the creative freedom. And, well, welcome back, Gabels. Addons with the assist as well. That's a pretty good start, isn't it? 2.5 minutes gone, and we find ourselves ahead via a corner. Addons puts it in. I'm surprised that the ball has managed to get to that part of the pitch without the keeper coming out or defender heading it clear. But make no mistake, a nice little finish by Gabels on the volley. Hopefully he's now setting the tone for today's episode. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? Pepe here, dispossessed by Aouar, playing that box-to-box midfielder role. It's nice to see Keane and Gabels playing it up top together. And well, Gabels, he could have had a second goal in a minute. That was a clear-cut chance. Keane threaded him through, one-on-one with the keeper. You probably would anticipate him to score that if he was a little sharper, but unfortunately he couldn't quite take the opportunity that presented itself. And, well, that is the pointless highlight to end the game. Although, 5 minutes gone, we're on our third highlight of the game. What is happening here? Shadas, Coman, Gabels. Goes back. Shadas again with it. He has been pulling strings from deep, hasn't he? Coman knocks it wide to Militao. Can he put in a good ball? He can. Gabels, shot blocked, but he gets the second bite of the cherry. Welcome back, Gabels. You've not really been our goal scorer that I wanted you to become over the last year and a half. But right here and right now, you're showing glimpses of brilliance. Of course, good to see Coman, Shadas, Militao down that right-hand side getting involved. The first effort was blocked, but make no mistake, that second effort, goal at his mercy, ruthless. And, well, he's going to want another. If he could score in this highlight here, it could be a hat-trick in 5 minutes. He's through. Can he finish it? He's fouled. He's not. It falls to Coman. I thought a penalty was about to be given. Unfortunately, the keeper stands firm. I mean, we've had 3 clear-cut chances in the opening 8 minutes. I feel like Lille pride themselves on their defensive resilience, their difficulty to break down. But right here and now, we're just ripping apart that defence like it's soggy tissue paper. And now Shadas has scored a free kick. Soggy tissue paper. Where am I going with this? 11 minutes gone, it's 3-0. I mean, should we just go home now? We've peaked. Should I just end the episode here? No, let's not. But, well, my Nan there probably should have done better. My Nan could have done better than my Nan. In goal then. That was awful. Right, I'm moving on. Let's just leave. No more puns for today's episode. I promise. Lenglet gets it out. Keane. What can he do? Look at him bringing the ball forward. He looks so confident. Maraudering forward. Dinks it to Coman. Gabels is there. As are a few other players. Gabels with the hat-trick. I mean, where were these performances at the start of the season? Where were they? Lovely, lovely goal. Moise Keane. Great run. Not a bad ball at all by Coman. And he put the ball on a plate. The cross was deflected, but it fell straight to the path of Willem Gabels, who grabs another. And, well, we're in dreamland right now. Shadas with a goal and assist. Gabels with a hat-trick. Suddenly, all those changes that we made just going into this game seem like they were the best changes we've ever made. I mean, Ndombele with it again now. Could Gabels get the double hat-trick? Is it on the cards? Am I speaking too soon here? It's only 26 minutes gone. Coman hits it. Oh, my word, Kingsley. What a... you... I mean, if it goes in... we saw the Hernandez goal go in for PSG against us previously, so I'm not going to question that effort at all. But because that was quite good. It was quite good. Lenglet to Aouar. Spreads it wide to Tolisso, of course, slotting in at left-back for us today. He does get caught out by Nicolas Pepe, a player who I know has been linked with Liverpool in real life. He's very, very good in Football Manager as well, the right midfielder. I want to say Ivorian. If he's not from the Ivory Coast, I apologise. Anyway, Rudiger lumps it forward to Sly, who slides in, and while Seferovic is there... I mean, are you not entertained? Is all I can really say. Are you not entertained? Rudiger, is that how have they got Rudiger? Have they got him on loan? It must be a loan. It is a loan. I was going to say, I can't imagine a world in which Lille can afford him. He's barely played at all for Chelsea. He looks pretty good, to be fair. Not a bad little loan signing for them, and he was involved in the build-up play. If this was ice hockey, he would have been given a secondary assist. I feel like I've talked about this before, but secondary assists should be a thing in football. It's basically if you assist the assister. In ice hockey, that stat is tracked. In football, it is not. I have no idea why it's tracked in ice hockey. I guess it's because when it's 5-a-side, it's kind of that second-to-last pass could be fairly common. I don't even know. There must be a reason that they track it in ice hockey. I feel like it's because there's fewer players on the pitch at a time, so it's a better measurement of a player's impact when they're on the ice. Ice hockey fans, if you know, let me know. Traore here with a chance for them, hits it. I mean, that's pretty good by Adama Traore, I'm not even going to lie. I was getting a little bit carried away at 4-0. I was talking about the double hat-trick. It's now 4-2, and I'm thinking, Should I be worried yet? I don't know if Lopez could have done a little better there, but it was one hell of a free kick. You can see they're playing this very, very kind of, I don't want to say campy formation, but it's quite defensive. Right, let's make some changes. I'm going to bring in Auger for Awar and then move Shadas to box midfielder. I'm going to bring in Trincao for Coman. And I think we'll hold on to our last sub for now. Just with 25 minutes left, you know how Football Manager works. You make that third change, instantly a player gets injured. Pepe with it to Seferovic. I know someone's going to say, Jack, why did you not go more defensive when they scored the second? The reason is because they've only had 3 shots all game. Make it 4 now. They're just being very clinical, Lille, and it's kind of scaring me a little bit. I don't want to change anything because we're in complete control and we're limiting their chances, but they are scoring every chance that comes their way. And it's not like they're hitting us on the break and getting great clear-cut opportunities. They are just being very clinical. I mean, we can't bottle this, can we? We can't bottle this. We've been in so much control of this game that I don't want to change anything. You know, we afford so few shots against us and create a lot ourselves. I always feel like if you turtle up and go defensive, you just kind of invite pressure on yourself. I mean, it looks like we're going to hang on here. I don't want to speak too soon, but there's 7 seconds left and we're in possession, bringing it forward. Not the most convincing of results in the end, but I'm going to look at the positives. Gabel's got a hat-trick on his return from injury and the Man of the Match award. That second half, though, and, well, really after we got our 4th goal, maybe a teeny tiny bit of a cause for concern, but hey, Gabel's got a 13-minute hat-trick. That's the kind of goal scoring that I expect from him. He got 15 goals in 19 games the season before last when he joined us halfway through the year. Last season he got 15 and 32. His average rating was kind of okay. This year he's been really far off the pace, but performances like that, I feel like it's a matter of time before he finds his best form. Really, we just need him to perform as he did for the first 6 months of his time here for an entire season. I do wonder if having Moise on the left and Gabel's up top is the way to go. Obviously I talked about it last episode, but I have been thinking about maybe switching to like a 3-5-2. The issue is I want to play 2 strikers, right? But we have so many talented players in the wide area that I also want to play with attacking wide midfielders, or at least wide midfielders you can get higher up the pitch. Given our lack of players at like left back and right back of super high quality, I'm leaning more and more on the idea that a 3-5-2 might be worth exploring with next year. The only issue is that I do feel like kind of a 3 at the back formation in Football Manager just often gets kind of punished by just how the match engine is. Auger gets a wage hike for his appearance there. Can Monaco lose to Brest? That's the question we're all wondering. Of course, we've got Monaco on Wednesday. I should probably rest my players going into that game. I'm going to do it now before I forget, because I will forget. I'm going to not even pretend that I won't. I almost certainly will. I think we will bring Toussaint back in. It feels harsh because of how well we've been doing. Although I guess we could bring in Tolisso to play defence midfielder. That might be the way to go. And players are already rested, apparently. Did I select them to be rested? My short-term memory's like vanishing from me right now. Answers on a postcard. We have Monaco away. Debatably the hardest game of the season, particularly with how well Monaco have done this year. Part of me wants to beat them. Part of me feels like, if we beat them, then there's a chance that PSG can catch them. That's kind of how my brain is wired to think. And Nader and Coney didn't have the best games for Sochaux as they won. Keita got a goal for Auxerre, but it was not enough for them. And Durand, how have you been going on? He only conceded 1 and it was against Keita. I don't know if Durand's going to be first team ready next year. I almost feel like he needs 1 more year of being loaned out, but he does look so blooming good. Really, really like the look of him a hell of a lot. I'm not sure when regen day is. I feel like I probably should have checked it. Before I started today's episode. Can Auger get us a result against PSG? Do it for us, Auger. Please. I believe in you. Don't let me down. They're going to do it. Watch it here. They're going to win 2-0. 2-0 at Auger. I say Auger, it's Angers. I'm thinking of my own midfielder. But go on, Angers! They're going to win 2-0. I can see it now. In my dreams. Freitas got a goal for Malaga. He has now become a regular starter for them. He looks so blooming good. How does he compare with Auger? Which would you play, folks? That's the question. 17 finishing is very, very exciting on an attacking midfielder. And along with his vision and passing, Freitas looks incredible. I am particularly excited about him. Okay, Angers, help me. It's Angers, Jack. Angers. It's like a French lesson. Bonjour. Okay, let's not speak any French. I feel like I should have checked what WorkTheSpace is in French and then made my manager name that. I don't think I'm going to sign Rosa here. We talked about it last episode as a player. I wasn't sure how keen I was on him. I've evaluated the situation. I'm not that keen on him at all. So, sorry, mate, but yeah, you're moving on for the greater good. For the greater good, right. Few random players being scouted here. Any with super high recommendations other than Mbappe? Thank you for suggesting that game. I never would have known. Abel Ruiz. He's okay. He's okay. Like, he does have a lot of potential, I know, in Football Manager. I feel like he very rarely reaches it. He does look pretty solid. I feel like the big kind of point of contention with him from Barcelona would be how much is he actually going to cost. But anyway, we've got to prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for what's about to ensue. We're taking on Monaco, who are in first. I talked about the fact I didn't want to beat them because then PSG might overtake them. Given the fact that I think they've got a 7-point cushion over PSG, I'm less concerned about beating them and I'll feel less responsible if they go on to bottle the league. Keita and Nice still looks very good. Still very, very highly rated. His physicals and speed are incredible, but that lack of consistency combined with that already kind of overabundance of attacking players just makes me feel a little less keen on him, perhaps. Lots of young players scouted here. We'll look through them another time. There's too many here. There's too many. I mean, the transfer window is closed. I don't know what kind of money we're going to have next year. I feel like it's a bit too soon to be eyeing up potential players. Although this guy plays for Vitesse, looks good. Is it Vitesse or Vitesse? Answers on a postcard. Answers on a postcard. Please send the postcards in. Get them to me. Who's this guy? He's a Cypriot. Why does Cyprus have so many sick regens in this save? I mean, he's not like, don't get me wrong, he's not like the greatest player since sliced bread. But he looks pretty solid. Anyway, we're going to mix things up a little bit in this game. We're going to bring in Mendy. We're going to bring in Tolisso to play ball in a midfielder. That does mean that our boy Toussaint is going to be on the bench. He'll be okay with that, though. I'm going to start Shadas, you know. Shadas really, really impressed me in that last game. He's going to get another chance here. I mean, did he get an assist and a goal? I can't remember. I think it was an assist and a goal. You can't really do much more than that. In terms of their team, they've got Marilla, Tielemans, Pavon, Ronnie Lopez, Pellegrini. I mean, you can see why they're as high as they are in the league. They've also got Bonucci, a centre-back. That's a pretty good Monaco side, if you ask me. We are going to need to be at our best. Show me what you're made of, boys. I've got faith in each and every one of you. Show them that we are not a bad team. Oh, I'm so disappointed with how this league season's played out. I can try and put on a brave face. I mean, Monaco are very, very good. And between them and PSG, they do have infinitely more resources than us. But if it wasn't for that awful first month of the season, we would be up there in title contention. I think the thing that annoys me the most about this year, really, is the fact that we were never at the races. You know, because we were never near the top, it hasn't felt competitive. Which is entirely my own fault for the fact that we had such an awful first month of the season. And I'm glad that we've turned it around. You know, we really have steadied the ship and since the first month, in truth. Like, we had title-winning form, but what was it, like 3 losses and a draw in our first 5? Like, that's just never going to work. Gabels, can you finish it against his former club? He cannot, of course. Gabels, we sold in real life Lyon, sold him at least to Monaco. We bought him back, and in that first kind of half a season where he barely played for Monaco, he just turned it on for us. Won the Champions League with us, and since then he's been a little bit off the races, but this is the kind of game, off the back of a hat-trick, where I feel like he can reinstate hope in him. And hopefully finish chances if he gets another chance after that first miss, because that was a clear-cut opportunity. Coman's got a tight half an hour booking. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to bring in Trincao as well, you know. Trincao's an interesting one. He kind of burst onto the scene in the first few years, and then he's kind of fallen down the pecking order, just with a kind of overabundance of wingers. But as of late, we have relied on him a little more. And he hasn't set the world alight, but then again, neither has anyone really on our team this year. I'd be interested to know, for you, loyal watchers of Lyon Live, who has been the standout player this season? Because I don't think there has been one. I think Fekir, had the highest rating before we sold him. But it's been one of those years where, I don't know, we lost a pillar, I guess, in Fekir in January, but it felt like we lost him sooner than that. And even players like, you know, Coman and Gabels, players with real quality who you'd hope could step up, they just didn't really step up. And then, I mean, we defend like that 17 seconds after the restart. Marilla scores his 15th of the season. I mean, what were we doing at the back? I think it was Lenglet here who positioned himself horrifically. Like, why is he the one closing down? Oh, Wallace should have gone for it. Marilla left clean through, slots it home. The nightmare start to the second half, really. Defended so well in the first half, looked so solid, and then a momentary lapse in concentration sees us, well, on the ropes. Gabels has had a poor game. I'm going to take him off because he's still coming back from injury. To be honest, our whole midfield's just been losing the battle, haven't they? I'm going to bring in Auger. We need some fresh legs. We need some youth, some inspiration perhaps. Additionally, probably need to look to go on the attack and play some more direct attacking football. So that is exactly what we are going to try and do here. We're going to switch to the 4-2-3-1, the attacking variant. We've tried to contain them. Now we need to go on the front foot and get a goal. And that's going to be the challenge for us really here, isn't it? Lenglet punts it forward to Maulida, who is offside. He's offside. For a second I thought he was through, but unfortunately the assistant had other ideas. 19 minutes left. It's still to play for, you know. Maybe one of the players we brought on can have an impact. Auger, what can you do? What can you do? He gives it to Maulida. Trincao out wide. The 3 subs linking up. Trincao hits it. Not great. I'm going to be honest. Not great. I've seen better attempts on goal. With 10 minutes left, we're kind of limited in what changes we can do now. We can tell the players to go very attacking and do a team talk from the sideline, but we leave ourselves open to potentially being hit on the break. It's been a very, very even game. Monaco took the chance that came their way. We've edged out possession, same number of shots. They've hit the target a little bit more, but it really hasn't, you know, been a classic by any means. There's been a lack of quality on display, you know, given the 2 opposition teams. Ronnie Lopez is through for them. I mean, that flatters them. But as I said, you could kind of feel it coming. As soon as you go very attacking, it's that last roll of the dice. At that point, you kind of accept and you're going to be behind. The scoreline is poor. The actual performance, considering we were away from home against the team who are top of the league, I could be more upset about it, you know. We could have played a lot worse. I guess if this game, the way it's played out, I am fuming if we're in a title race. But given where we are, it's okay. Of course, Gabels had that fantastic opportunity at 0-0 to give us the lead, and if he bangs that in, it's a completely different game. However, he did let us down just a little bit. Apparently, they striked lucky. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with that. Tizzy and Kone playing again for Sochaux. Good to see Kone getting some good minutes as of late. He really has become a regular of their first team, which is great news. He's only 17. He has 18 passing, terrific physicals, like very, very excited by this guy. Trying to think who he reminds me of in real life. A centre mid who's athletic, has great passing, but perhaps isn't the best finisher nor the best defensively. He's like a baby Ndombele. It's not the best analogy, but we'll go with it. I mean, they are both young French centre midfielders. Maybe he is the young Ndombele. Anyway, you can see here, Gabel's had room for improvement. He had one chance. It was a great chance and he missed it. Does scare me a little bit that Chelsea are interested, but he's got 4.5 years left of his current deal. His head should not be turned. So inevitably it probably will be. Okay, there is this guy who plays at Atleti. I'm underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed. Actually, does he play for Atleti? No. I saw this badge and assumed it was Atletico Madrid. That is not Atletico Madrid's badge, although I feel like it's similar. I feel like it's similar enough that my confusion can be justified. Just for comparison. You got the blue and the red stripes, right? At a glance, in small, I feel like you can see the similarities there. Ironically, he isn't playing for Real Madrid. For Atletico Madrid. He's a Real Madrid player who's out on loan. So he is in Madrid, just not the Madrid you'd think. How's Marin been doing on loan? I've been so disappointed by Marin, you know. He's usually so good in FM, and I feel like on this save he was completely wrecked by the fact he broke his ankle right at the start of the save. He was only out for 3 to 4 months, but he did decline from that, like, at that point, and it's just kind of set him back. There is a young Korean regen on loan from Liverpool. I feel like we looked at this guy before and I got annoyed because they got him for nothing. I mean, look at that. That is literal peanuts. Are there any other good South Korean players? I feel like we've been looking at a few, haven't we? We've got Hwan joining us. We loaned him back. It's all coming back to me. What about Kim Jung-sin? Jung-sin? We'll go with that. He looks like an okay winger. Let's get a scout report. He's a little bit older, though, than I realised at first glance. Can do us a favour. Can they? Probably not. Probably not. No. PSG win again. Still got 2 games in hand on them, but they have pulled a little way ahead after our Monaco defeat. We're 7 points ahead of Auxerre with a game in hand. Win our game in hand and we're 12 points clear of the team in 5th. We'd all but have guaranteed ourselves, I feel like, at that point, Champions League football for next year, which of course is always the aim here. That might seem like a small club mentality, but like, for me personally, my aim at Lyon is always to get to the Champions League, and I feel like, especially with there now being 4 qualification spots for the French sides, that is absolutely something that we should be striving for every year. I want to take that next step. I want to win the league again. Of course, last season it did go down to the final day of the season. Like, we really did push both PSG and Monaco to the end. You might remember that end of season 3 kind of commentary. There was all 3 sides fighting it out with just the last game of the year. Like, we've been in situations where we have pushed them to the end, but this year has just been I want to believe it's just been one of those off years. It's like the traditional season that a lot of Premier League top teams have, where they do just have one year where they're just never in the title race, really. Of course, the Premier League traditionally kind of associated with being difficult to kind of, retain. I think City are one of the only teams to retain the Premier League and win it back-to-back years. I want to believe that we're still in the slump after winning the league 2 years ago. But maybe I'm living a bit too much in the past here with Lyon. That is completely possible. DJ, how are you doing, DJ? He's doing okay. Ferreira got an assist. He had such a great loan spell last year, you might remember. To be fair, we talked about how good... Oh, actually, it was the year before last, man. The years are blurring into one. He had that great year in the league below us. He then went to Brest. And to be fair, he's been pretty consistent over the last 2 years for them, hasn't he? Not quite got as many goals this year, but a similar average rating. He looks like a pretty good attacking midfielder, but the kind of player who I'd probably look to sell on, because I'm not sure he's ever going to be good enough for our first team. I'm going to change things up here a little bit. I'm going to bring in Maulida, but I'm going to play Keane as a striker. I'm going to bring in Markovic, I think, onto the pitch alongside Konate. I'm going to use this game as, I think, a chance to rotate things around ahead of a cup game that I desperately want to win. With kind of how the league is playing out right now, we're in a situation where I can afford to play a rotated 11 in this kind of game and not have to worry about it too much. I think we will give Tolisso a game because he's been a little bit in and out of the first team. OJ can start. So wonder what else I want to do. You know what, Barrow, you come in for Lala. I'm sorry, Kenny, but Barrow needs game time. And then I think we'll bring in some of the young regens onto the pitch. Unfortunately, Ollison is still out. But James Taylor, he can be sat on the bench, ready and raring to go. Really like the look of this guy a hell of a lot. He looks incredible. Just wondering if I actually want to play him ahead of Keane. Keane has been playing the last few games. And then I think we'll bring in Malcolm to play out on the right-hand side. He's been a little bit out of the team this year. I feel like between him and Gabels, it's been underwhelming. I mean, look at that. He's had 5 starts and 2 appearances off the bench, but a 6.69 average rating is really poor. The worst thing about that all is I don't think Trincão's has been that much better. Yeah, it's literally the exact same average rating. That's incredible. Obviously, Koeman has more regularly locked down that right-hand side of midfield position. But because of the fact we are playing with inside forwards, I like to favour a left-footed player. Unfortunately, between Malcolm and Trincão, we've kind of just not had a reliable alternative to Koeman that's put me in a position where I felt like I could play Koeman out on the left-hand side, cutting in on his right. Instead, we've looked at the likes of Maulida and Moise Keane to play out in that area. And Depay, before he broke his leg and was out for 4 months. Kind of forget about that Depay injury, but considering the fact we have been weighing up selling him for a while, it's allowing me to emotionally prepare for life without him if we were to sell him on. You know, the fact that we've not had him for pretty much the entire of the second half this year does put me in a position where I can at least see how our squad might be without him. And to be honest, this might be a harsh statement, I don't feel like we've missed him. I don't feel like at any point I could tell you, like, man, I wish we had Depay for selection, because although in the first few years he was huge for us, I don't think he's been, in the last few seasons at least, just a player we relied on and played off. And, you know, there were times we'd have glimpses of brilliance, but he's just not been that kind of anchor, I guess, of the first team that plays like the first name on every kind of game week, who, you know when he's fit, he's always going to be there. That's not really been his role for us. Partially through lack of quality and lack of form, but also because we have so much talent. Anyway, Malcolm's taken a knock and it might be a bruised ankle. I'm just going to play it safe and bring in Trincão. I was playing Malcolm as much to give him a shot in the first team, but also just to keep his happiness high for starts, because he's probably not going to be the most happy player about playing as little as he has. OJ's struggling a little bit with fitness, which is a tiny bit of a concern, but he should last a little way into the first half, or into the second half rather, before he starts to fade. Far from please, boys. Step it up, please. We've been all over them, to be honest. We've just yet to create clear-cut opportunities and take those chances that come. Taylor up front. Is Taylor up front for us today? We've seen so little of him that I couldn't even tell you if he's been on the pitch or not. Now leader here. What can he do? Tight angle, hits it. He hits the woodwork again. He hit it with a thunderous effort in the first half. That effort there may have even been saved. I think it was. I mean, there you go. That's how close we were to taking the lead immediately into the second half. We'll get to an hour and then I think we have to take off OJ because he is struggling and it's not looking particularly good for him. We'll bring in Aouar, who, I don't know, Aouar's an interesting player. He's improved a lot, but we are relying on him to be the replacement for Fekir, and he might be similar in terms of attributes, but in terms of statistical contributions, it's not even comparable. This might go to VAR for an offside. It's just as soon as I talk about statistical contributions and comparisons, I'm talking about Aouar being poor. Cue him right then, just a dink in a free kick for Tolisso to flick on. Looping little header. It's been given. That is a lovely goal. I think there were questions of offside. It wasn't given. I mean, more assists like that, please. Instant impact off the bench. I guess I deserve to give myself a pat on the back for that one, but no, we need to continue to step up here. Barrow, I mean, I guess the best compliment you could pay to Barrow is we've not noticed him playing poorly in this game. Which, considering, you know, he's a young regen, making his debut, playing left back, which isn't his natural position. I think he's naturally a right back, but he's done okay. Taylor for us. What can he do? I mean, Aouar's got another assist, and Taylor's got a tidy little goal. Used every ounce of his 17 finishing there. I thought when he kind of halted his run, maybe the chance had gone. Maybe he needed to, you know, bear down on the keeper. But watch this. He takes a touch, creates a bit of space, then just kind of flicks it out from his toes. There's barely a wind-up on that shot, and I think that caught the keeper out. One sub left for us. I'm going to take off Maulida. I'm going to bring in Moise Keane. All in all, though, good little second-half performance. Deserved completely, but, well, great to see Aouar come on off the bench and just have that impact with 2 assists. And nice little finish by Taylor up top. That is his first ever senior goal for Lyon. Of course, joined us from Hearts, if I'm not mistaken, in January. And the Scottish international there showing us that he is probably an international quality player. He picked up man of the match as well, which is really, really great to see. Malcolm did only get a bruised ankle, which is good. Elian Durand, unfortunately, conceded 5 goals. Not ideal. Not ideal for him, but, I mean, he'll come back stronger. I think his aerial reach has gone up to 10 now. I feel like Lorient have been the dream loan club for him. You know, for Durand. Like, he's been on loan there 3 years, 4 years, 2 years. Okay, it does all blend into one. He's already kept more clean sheets than last year. You know, they are steadily improving in the league. Right now, you know, they're in 13th, which is a good little finish for them. I think their media prediction was kind of relegation candidates. Yeah, 19th they were predicted. So for him in goal to be guiding them up the table and for him to be their key player, I mean, that is exciting if you ask me. Anyway, I'm anticipating us to have a regen day any time now. It may be after the Gungan game or around the Lorient game. Still want to strive towards getting both these games played today, but depending on the youth intake, we might spend just a little bit of time at the end of the episode, you know, sorting out our young players instead of doing the Lorient game. Kind of depends on the quality of the players that come through. But yeah, I don't know when regen day is this year. We're waiting for the one day where it takes a longer time than usual to process. When that day happens, we'll know it's happening and the moment has come. Anyway, just in preparation for our next game, we should probably select our best team, which, in my opinion, is this. Taliso, I'm going to give you a rest. You might still not be fit, and equally, I might still choose to play Mendy ahead of him at left back. You can see we trained Mendy to play left and right back now. It's just a bit of versatility in him, which I really, really like. Probably should lower his squad status to rotation. I have talked, as I mentioned earlier, about playing kind of a 3-5-2. I feel like Mendy would be the kind of casualty of all of that. You know, Moreno's leaving, Lala's aging. I guess the issue is we've got Damien Barreau, and we've also got another youngster whose name I'm forgetting, Nick Tuns, who's a pretty good left back. Although he can play defensive midfielder as well. But I feel like it would almost be a shame with the talent that those players have to play a system which they just don't fit into. You can see here lots of improvements. Gary Vigier, I don't remember this guy from our intake last year, but he has apparently just been stepping it up and he's got a lot of potential apparently now. I feel like that happens a bit more than I remember in previous years in FM, that sometimes there are players who are completely misjudged by the head of youth developments and they can either have way less potential than what was predicted originally or way more. Maybe that's just me. Let me know. Is that something that you have encountered this year in Football Manager? I feel like in previous years, you know, if a player had 3-star potential, I could kind of just ignore him and not be worried about it. Whereas now, some of those players actually do go on to be absolutely quality players, and within a few months of being in their team, the kind of board, not the board, but like the perception, I guess, of them by staff is just vastly different. Anyway, you can see here, Aneda, he might not be banging in the goals for Sochaux, but he's very much making the most of their facilities. He's improved a lot at them. like a hell of a lot. I think he's definitely benefited from playing regular first-team football in League over just being sat in our reserves playing in, reserve games. Which is exciting to see. Now, our leader's going to be out for 2 weeks with a pulled hamstring. I could give him injections, but I'd never really give players injections. I feel like the only time when I ever would be for, like, cup finals. And only if the cup final was kind of the last game of the year and they have a summer to recover. And even then, the sentimentals of me, even if I'm not the national team manager, would worry. If they've got a if they've got an international tournament going on, like a World Cup or the Euros, I don't want to give them an injection. Then I want them to stay fit. Maybe I'm too sentimental when it comes to stuff like that. Maybe I need to be more selfish and just look out for my club only and not worry about the players' international team. You can see Depay still has 6 weeks to 3 months out. Oh, we have our youth intake. Right, drum roll, please. Is it going to be good? We have got every reason to be excited by Vincent Pasquier, who has the potential to be one of the most gifted players to come through the years in recent years. And we also had a player come through one of our affiliates. He's rubbish, but hey, he looks okay. Right. Who's Vincent? How good are you? It's a goalkeeper. I don't need a goalkeeper. He's got 4-star potential. What about the rest of our youth candidates? Okay. Ooh. I mean, that's an interesting selection of positions, isn't it? He can play centre mid, left attacking mid, right attacking mid, or striker. But he can't play centre attacking mid. Nah. Has no knowledge of that position whatsoever. Matteo Nohode, probably, if I had to guess. Anyway, let's give him a contract. We've also got this guy, Stanislav Kokau, I think it would be. What a beautiful name. Not the craziest intake, I'm going to be honest. I feel like the bar's been set high here at Lyon, and this is a disappointing year, to say the least. Maybe I should be grateful for what I get given, but I don't know. Compared to some previous years, that is don't want to say it's underwhelming, but you'd be hoping maybe for a little bit more. As I said, there's other players down here who they could have insane potential, but 3-star I feel like is where I draw the line. Otherwise, our youth teams do just get a little too bloated. And I mean, when you look at how good our kind of selection of regens is, like we're not in a situation where every single youth intake we need to sign every single player who becomes available. There's kind of part of me that's like, it doesn't matter so much. We can just stick with these young players here. We're still going to have a squad at the end of the day. In fact, we've got quite a well-rounded squad. Granted, a fair few of those players are players who are in the reserves who get asked to play down, in the youth team when, first-team football is available. But yeah, I don't know. We've got quite a stacked team, haven't we? Okafor's got interest in him, which is interesting. Not the biggest team's interested in him either in terms of for a transfer. We signed him for 1.3 million from Valencia B. Apparently he has insane potential. Maybe we look to loan him out next year. He looks okay as a centre-back. He's not the best with the ball at his feet. A few more players being scouted here. The Sunday Okoro Wanta still looks so good. The name is going to catch me out, and it's probably a reason not to sign him. He looks good. So does this guy. I remember scouting this guy. He looked very, very good. He's pretty decent, and he's not the most consistent of performers, which is the only concern. Seems like Serie A's the league with all the sick regens right now. I don't know. I'm underwhelmed by that intake, boys. I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping for something incredible. I mean, Celtic have just knocked out Monaco. Fair play. Fair play. Who's in Celtic's team? They've got Giroud. Also, Juventus lost 5-0. They've got Denayer. Did they re-sign? Did we sell them Denayer, or did he go back to them via Monaco? He did. So he's just beaten his former club. They've got Meunier as well. They've got loads of French players. They've got Kurzawa at the back as well. What is this? They've got loads of former Lyon players, and then they've got, you can see here, Giroud up top and Barini. I'm not sure how that team has beaten Monaco over 2 legs, but fair play. I can't even knock it. David Diaz, he was playing centre-back for Juventus' game. I mean, the good news is he improved a lot off the back of playing for them in that match. I guess the bad news is he did concede 5, but they were a man down. And Ray Chen got sent off, so maybe that's the excuse that we can give him. Keane has continued to show remarkable improvements. I'll tell you what, Moise Keane has improved so much. So much, like in the last year. Like, you can see here how much he's improved since he joined us. Record transfer Moise Keane. But even compared to like a year ago, look at those improvements everywhere. Like, it looks good. Positioning up by 3. I mean, that's probably not the best one to improve, but his vision's gone up. His passing's gone up. Top draw player. And we've still got him for 4 more years. The more I think about it, the more I feel like Gabels and Gabels and Keane have to play up top together. Like, they're so good. I can't pick one or the other. And they would allow me to play Coman out on the right as a winger. If I played a 3-5-2 of some kind. The more I think about it, the more I feel like I have to do it. And it's not like we have an outstanding centre attacking mid in Fekir who we absolutely have to facilitate anymore. You know, he was one of the reasons why we went for centre attacking mid. You know, his replacement, can naturally play centre mid as well. The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, yeah, 3-5-2 might be the way to go. Maybe it's something to think about for, you know, the end of the year. If we do get knocked out to Liverpool over 2 legs, maybe outside of the French Cup, which I'm hoping we can win today to go into the next round, maybe we use this end of season run in here, just to have a bit of an experiment with a 3 at the back formation. That might take its own episode, kind of just to set it up, but I feel like sometimes you guys like the longer episodes like that, where there is a lot of kind of thinking and tweaking involved. In fact, if there's anything I've learned from this series, it's that the longer episodes, the ones that I worry might be a bit boring, tend to be the ones which are most popular. You know, even if there's not the craziest of matches or, you know, craziest of live comms going on, it's kind of, I don't know, it's the step-by-step kind of process of thinking about things, isn't it? And trying to work out how you're going to address it. I feel like over the last few years we've kind of just settled on, you know, 1 of 3 tactics being the way forward, and they've grown a little stale, and our team has evolved now to a point where I almost feel like, hey, we have this great team, but maybe the formation that we have it fitting into isn't the best fit anymore. You know, there's been a turnover of players. There's not been the highest turnover of players in the first team, to be fair. Just thinking about it now, you've got Wallace, who joined us season 1, Lopez started with us, Toussaint and Dombele Aouar started with us. So 5 if you include Wallace, who we signed year 1. 5 of the starting 11 for today's game were players who started with us. You know, it's not like we've renovated the team drastically. We've invested young, let those players develop, and then moved on players who become disposable, I guess, and who we need to cash in on. Players like Moreno, who we bought in on a free transfer, selling him now to Juventus for £27 million. If we do change systems, it probably opens up the opportunity just to move a few more players on. I guess the only issue is that committing to a 3 at the back system and changing the squad to fit that might leave us in a situation where when they're not really able to realistically switch to a 4 at the back system with fullbacks anymore. You know, if you move on too many fullbacks and you kind of go all in on the 3 at the back system, you could potentially run into a situation where you're in a bit of trouble. I guess the one silver lining with that all is the fact that Lucas Romero, who plays right back, can also play centre mid. As Trincao scores that, okay, Francisco. Aouar gets the assist. That's pretty good. But yeah, just thinking about like right backs, for example, Romero can play centre mid. Militao would probably slot in at centre back for us. At left back, Tolisso can slot in at centre mid. Mendy would be the one player who I'd be super concerned about because he can only play left and right back. But we have phased him a little bit out of the team this year, and he's not kicked up too much of a fuss. So although traditionally switching, and going all in on a three at the back system might leave you short of fullbacks, actually the players who we currently have, who we do rely on to play the fullback positions, 3 out of 4 of them can play other positions very well. So maybe that is less of a concern. Anyway, whilst I've been rambling away, we've got to half-time in this French Cup game. We've been very, very solid here. Been the better team by a comfortable margin. I mean, they've yet to have a shot. We've dominated possession. I guess the only real concern is the fact it's only 1-0. And it came through an absolute wonder goal by Trincao. But then, given how they're playing, they're very defensive shape, it's going to be difficult to break down. And Gabels has scored an incredible goal, but it's going to be disallowed. But the finish itself was nutty. Which almost makes it a shame it had to be disallowed for a push. Anyway, Toussaint, what can you do here? Goes wide to Eder Militao, crosses it in. Gabels, I mean, he gets another goal. It's fallen to him very kindly. But he's got his shooting boots on, the number 9. He's found them. They were, in the closet, in his shoe closet, right at the back. Do professional footballers have shoe closets? I feel like they do. He's gone to the back, he's got that dusty pair of shoes that you forget that you own. It's only me that's ever had that thing where you kind of find an old pair of shoes and they're a bit old, they're a bit tired. But actually, there's no reason why you don't use them, but you've just kind of forgotten that they exist so you never go to them. That's what Gabels' shooting boots are. I feel like this is a very, very obscure reference which is just making no sense. I mean, that is basically the tagline for this whole series, I guess. References that make no sense. Oh my god. That's a pretty good goal by Venezet. I'm not even going to pretend it's not. What a finish that is. Flicked on. He picks up the ball at the halfway line, brings it forward. He's not smashed it home. But from 25, 30 yards out, he just slots it into the bottom corner. I do think Lopez probably should have got to that. Was that their first shot of the game? It was their first shot of the game, and it flew in like that. Coman's been poor. I'm going to bring in Shadas. Gabels, you know what? We'll keep you on. Trincao, you've been fine too. Lucas Romero, you've not played so much lately. You come in. And you know what? Trincao, you have a break. Gabels slotting in the wide area. And Taylor, who got man of the match last game, we're going to give him a run out for the last 10 minutes, the young Scotsman. See what he can do, the number 19. I do get a little bit giddy and a little bit excited imagining a front two of Gabels. And he scored again, James Taylor. Fair play. I was going to say Gabels and Moise Keane, but maybe I should just say Gabels and Taylor. But no, I feel like the strike pairings that we potentially have at this team are very, very nutty. And I've probably got to make the most of them. I don't know if Shadas' header would have gone in there. It might have hit the keeper. Either way, Shadas gets the assist. Taylor gets the goal. Tactical genius by me for both subs to have an impact. And we go marching on in the French Cup, which is huge because it is the competition that we're kind of still fighting for. The rest of them are kind of out of at this point. Whereas this is the one where we do have a little bit of an outside chance. Well, not even an outside chance. We have a chance to win it. Of course we do. I would really like to see Monaco and PSG getting knocked out of this so I can avoid them. But we're through to the quarterfinals. Lille made it through on penalties against a team who are in the National League. So fair play to them. Avranches, you did well. Metz beat lower league opposition in extra time. And Nantes beat Auxerre. It's not the most convincing of performances by the teams in the top flight there, is it? I'll sign the recommended players as well by our kind of assistant. But you can see here, youth candidates versus our current under-19s. They lost 5-0. Not particularly great sign for the youth candidates, but there were a few of them there that could turn very good. Gabels could be asking for a new contract soon. How much are you going to want? It's more than I want to give you. I'm not going to lie. Due to our previously constructive negotiations, I'm prepared to accept a fairly modest fee. Thank you, Mr. Agent. So you wanted 65 grand, first team player. I accidentally clicked the use existing contract. I guess we can just reset the changes here. I don't want that wage increase after international appearances, but the seasonal landmark goal bonus, like, I'm willing to give you big money if you can find the back of the net. I would like to get in an optional 2-year extension clause. I can up the agent fee a little bit as well. Once a yearly wage rise. Let's remove that. So if we can get Gabel signed on like a 6-year deal, I'm kind of willing to offer him a quite big wage rise. For that 80k still a little bit too high for my liking. We'll give him a 400k top goal scorer in the league bonus and a 400k team of the year bonus. Man, this guy is not playing nice with these negotiations. But equally, Gabel's is just such a key part of our team that I do want to lock him down into a longer deal. I am conscious of the fact he's lowered the number of goals required for the bonuses. Let's nudge those up. International cap bonus. You know what? If you play for France, 16 grand. Also, I think it's very rare that he's going to be an unused sub, so we'll up that fee. Winning the Champions League. If we win the Champions League, mate, you can have 1 million smackaroonies. I feel like I made a pretty fair offer there. Please let me know what you think. Sometimes I feel like this game is overly harsh when it comes to when it comes to the renewals. So New Hode looks like he's probably the best player in our intake, although he wasn't the one our head of youth development really drew attention to. He was more keen on the goalkeeper, but we already have goalkeepers. Anyway, we've got the French Cup here. Been drawn against Dijon, which is quite nice. It'll be Lille and either Monaco or Angers. PSG have Metz and Nantes have Rennes. I would have really liked Monaco to get drawn against PSG, but beggars can't be choosers, can they now? Not saying that we're a beggar, but we kind of just have to take what we're given, I feel like. Anyway, few youth contracts signed, no Hode. I'm not sure how to, that's definitely not how you say his name. I kind of want this guy just to learn to play centre attacking mid, because it feels weird him not being able to play it. He looks like he could be a very, very good little playmaker, though, with a little bit of development. He is only 14, so we've got to bear that in mind. I mean, Vincent here does look like a solid goalkeeper. He's already got better aerial reach than Durand. I wish that goalkeepers had better things that you could put their focus into, but there really isn't that many choices. I mean, we could put it into agility and balance, I guess. He's already pretty agile, but why not do that? That South Korean winger ain't that good, as it turns out. I feel baited in. I've praised Moise Keane and he's not happy. He's like, Gaffer, you've been praising me too much lately. Please stop. Barreau is looking incredible. Again, Barreau's another play would be a potential collateral of us switching kind of our defensive formation. Or not our defensive formation, just our formation. Could still loan him out for a couple of years, and who knows, in a couple of years we might be back playing for at the back, or we might at the end of this year play the free at the back system and then decide it's absolutely awful. Anyway, Auger doesn't feel like his strength training's giving him any results, even though his strength has gone up. But I'm going to take him off it to keep it happy. Durand here, different Durand. He's actually developed quite a lot. Squad's good personality and good characters had an effect. That's what I like to see. Apparently Aouar's vastly improved. How much have you improved, Aouar? Quite a lot. See, I think as a centre mid, I'm just thinking about how we might play a free at the back system. I feel like it's something to worry about once we're out the Champions League. But no, it's something that I definitely think is worth weighing up. Anyway, I think I'm going to save the Lyon game for next episode. We're coming up to being an hour long. I don't really want the episode to go over an hour, but it was nice to do a longer episode today. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. I also hope you can understand why sometimes it is a little bit trickier to get kind of episodes up, you know, every few days of this series. Obviously, there was a point where we were doing it daily between, you know, the other saves we've got going on and other bits and pieces. like streaming that I've been doing regularly. I've just been finding it a little bit more challenging lately to get the free time. And then I have real life stuff to attend to, of course, as well. And so it can just make it challenging to sit down and find a good moment to record this. But no, we'll end things here. PSG did unfortunately win, so they continue to pull away from us. But we do now look nailed on for a top 3 finish. 10 games left of the year. Next time out, we've got the second leg against Liverpool, where we are going to be hoping for a miracle. Of course, I do hope to see you guys for that one. Let me know what you made out of our youth intake. 3 at the back. I think it's probably worth a shot, especially with our overabundance of centre midfielders. Playing 3 centre mids in a 5-man midfield definitely seems like the way to go in order to get the most out of our strikers at the very least. But yeah, that's all from me, folks. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.